Have you checked the children? Your little Mesa
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Ralph the Wolfman.
And you have Jaime and Fuego here. We're back for some more Patreon stuff, getting caught up here as we get a little bit further into 2022. The holidays, December and everything, as we were closing out 21. Yeah, we got a little, just behind on things, but I'm so
Kung flu hit us and everything.
Yeah,
Came around.
sadly, Captain Trips, god damn you. I still have like the littlest tickle cough, still going on all these weeks later. But in any event, guys, we are here to fulfill none other than Seth T. Miller, right?
Yes,
As I
sir.
recall correctly, who I've been interacting with a little more on Facebook lately. Good taste in all things, even beyond the werewolf genre.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out, man. But as he has been with many of his requests for a number of months now, we're covering another one, and this I had never seen before. We'd be talking Skinwalkers.
Yas.
Indeed, see.
And I believe this was directed by Jason Isaac, I believe.
Okay.
I'm not really familiar with too much of his other work or anything like that. But at least some of our main characters, though, very noticeable. Got
Lots of bit players I recognize.
Elias Kotis and everything, more so notably known as Casey Jones from the Ninja Turtles.
That's who that was.
Yep.
Shit, yeah, okay.
Yep, that's Casey Jones,
1
man.
and 3. Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
And then Jason Bear Bar or whatever from was it Roswell, I believe it was.
Oh,
Something crap like
the
that. Yeah.
CW or WV show
Yep.
or whatever. Yeah.
And then it was Rona something. She was Underworld and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this came out around that same time that, franchises like Underworld were really... I think they
Yep.
put out a couple installments by
Yeah,
the
this
time
was
this one came out.
2006 or 2007 that
Okay.
Skinwalkers came out.
So I'm not sure if Underworld, the second one, had come out just yet at that what was it? Underworld... I
honestly,
forget the subtitle
honestly,
of the second one.
it might have, I think, because I think the first Underworld at least.
Underworld
came out
Evolution was the second one, I want to say, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but
anyways,
we're
we're
talking
talking Skinwalkers, not Underworld.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, I mean, we always hit overall thoughts, and these are a little bit looser than some of our like mainstay reviews on the horror show YouTube proper. So, I mean, as far as enjoyability, this was a slick, good-looking movie. I could tell that it was not bargain basement budget or anything of that nature.
No, this went to theaters.
Yeah. I once again, first time viewing though, so I saw more so than anything for whatever reason, I saw a lot of connections to John Carpenter's vampires and like attire, the biker vibe from a lot of stuff, and there was also kind of a tropey, cliched kind of gifted kid that can change the course of everything.
That's one part that's always kind of just like bugged me just with that story. It's like, I mean, you guys could have figured something out, but at the same time, it's the biker werewolves thing.
Very
you
much
can kind of only do so much with it.
Yeah.
As much as I love werewolves, you really can only do so much with the biker werewolf thing.
This is very true.
The prophecy kid and crap.
Yeah, and I thought honestly that they were going to put a little bit more, because there's a preface at the very beginning of this movie that gives you kind of like almost catches you up to speed with the lore that they're putting together. I thought it was going to be a little bit more Native American centric, I guess, and with an emphasis on that than it actually ended up being. I think there was only one Native American actually in the movie of any prominence, and even he was a minor character.
Basically, he was considered like the Watcher,
Yeah.
in a sense, and everything, because he was the human and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, this is not anything particularly revolutionary in my opinion, but there's a lot of pretty actors in it, and by the time we get to the third act, there did at least feel like there were some stakes and some tension, but really this felt much more like an action movie than a horror movie to me at the end of the day. So
No, absolutely.
yeah. What about you, man?
But yeah, overall thoughts. I've always enjoyed this movie. I remember watching it when it first came out. I threw it in my collection and whatnot. I still have it, but no, I've always enjoyed it. There were obviously some things with the story that I've always had issues with. Like, again, we just previously said with the whole child prophecy kind of thing and normal biker world cliches. But overall, it's still a fun movie, just to kind of semi-check your brain off, just a little action monster flick. That's really what it is.
Yeah, not much else, not anything incredibly deep or, as I
Yeah.
said previous,
And, like,
revolutionary or anything. So.
Yeah, and like we'll get to like the effects later, but that's really the shining point of it, is the effects
Agreed.
once we get to it. And they are done really well.
Yeah.
But yeah. So just covering on that, just want to tackle story real quick?
Yeah, and I mean, we've already hit some of it, but so there is basically two different warring factions, if I remember correctly, right? And so there are those that want to almost have like a peaceful resolution, from what I understand, and then there's another faction that is just very much about bloodshed.
One
and
one
that
that
is really
wants
the only way.
to end the curse, and one that wants to keep the curse going.
Keep that separation in place, so
Yep.
to speak. And so our gifted child, who is the son of, I guess you would consider her the main character.
Yep.
Her and her son are like the crux of everything conflict-wise that's going on,
Exactly.
really.
Yep.
You find out that the father of this child that you presume dead is not, in fact, and I guess I don't want to spoil who he is, but who he is in the narrative at least, but he does play like kind of a crucial portion, especially in, you know, how things are going to get resolved, I guess. And there's the evil, the werewolf bikers are trying to take this kid, and he needs to be sacrificed before the blood moon at
Something like
the end
that,
of
yeah.
that night. And it's really not too much more than that.
It's basically follows them on the road after an attack in their town. They leave, and then basically they're being pursued by the warring faction of werewolves that want to keep the curse going.
Yeah, and that's really about it.
Yeah, no, that really is.
Without getting into spoilery stuff in the third act, where allegiances shift around, people are turned, and different things transpire.
Which again, it goes back into like
the daughter of a particular
the normal tropes and things like that you can kind of expect.
Yeah.
But other than that, so we just jump onto acting. I would say acting was fairly good from everybody.
It's not bad.
There was a couple issues, especially towards the end with the kid. Especially, I had some problems with him. It was more so just line delivery. And yeah, the writing wasn't the greatest, but you work with what you got.
Yeah, it was some of the heavier scenes of emotion for the youngster, especially.
Especially
he
that
didn't carry
final
his weight
end.
as much.
You're going to be screaming a hell of a lot more after you get a chunk taken out of your shoulder.
Serious, right?
Don't give me that rat's ass.
And
I would be yelling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What sort of pain threshold does this child have, man?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You got 2-inch teeth going into your shoulder, ripping out a chunk. You're gonna be hooting and hollering. I tell you what.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the bad biker werewolfies they're relative. The supporting cast of them, at least, they're ominous
like
enough.
We had
You've got the badass hottie who's like going around, and she's just got like she's rocking the midriff, and she's looking all sexy and tough and whatnot, but she doesn't really have much to do, and no memorable dialogue. She's some eye candy, and she looks great, you know.
Basically, yeah. But like even like I was saying, like some of the supporting stuff we did get even from like Kim Kotis, who from who he played from the Sons of Anarchy.
No, I never watched Sons of Anarchy. I'm familiar with it, but never watched it.
Anyways, that guy and whatnot.
So he wasn't out of his element on that show then?
No, he wasn't at all. And like he played that good little asshole kind of smart ass once we got what little lines and everything from him that we did.
Yeah.
But really, like going to the shining point, I figured we just jump over to the effects.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, as far as cinematography and everything, it's in like a desolate northwestern town. I'm trying to remember if they said Oregon or Washington, or that they probably filmed it in Canada and then said it was in America, because I think this was a Canadian movie. If I'm not
it's
mistaken.
possible. But yeah, even with like just quick touch on the cinematography, there wasn't anything that stood out.
Yeah, forest and locales are nice. The set selection, I think, the location scouting was solid enough.
Yeah, that's definitely, but nothing stood out, nothing wowed me or anything like that. But yeah, the shining point was definitely our practical effects.
Yeah, agreed.
Like we did have some CG like minor enhancements, but again, it was, I would say 90% practical effects.
I felt like
I'm all about it.
Yeah, I felt like the transformative stuff looked better in the third act than earlier in the film, where they go and they almost like rob and ransack a bar, and then there's some sex that goes down, and it's like the werewolf sex sort of shit. I didn't think that looked anywhere near as good as what we got in the third act as far as transformation, but personal opinion.
Absolutely, but you can still definitely appreciate the time that they took and for adding the budget into their practical effects.
Yeah, and
instead of just doing the CGI that a lot of times movie companies would rather just do.
Yeah, true. And like you could tell, like especially when that woman turns, who I was talking about a little bit earlier in the gang, like you could tell that it was those actors under prosthetics and makeup and everything, from the eyes to some of the facial movements, despite the prosthetics on and everything.
Yeah, and I'm all about
you could tell
that.
it was them.
Yeah, you do a head mold and everything, and mask up your actors, and you're gonna have a better looking result.
Now, not super bloody from what I remember. There's bits here and there.
Yeah, it's not super bloody and everything. I believe this because it was PG-13.
Was it?
I believe it was PG-13.
want to say R when I rented it the other day,
Was it?
but I could be wrong. Maybe it was different within other regions.
I don't
or
know,
some
maybe.
shit. I don't know. But
PG-13 R and everything. Either way,
not a hard R by any way.
It wasn't.
shape, or
It
form.
wasn't very bloody, especially for being a werewolf movie, and we should have gotten a lot more, especially during our initial bar attack.
Yeah.
That scene right there should have they should have gone pretty gung ho with it. If that was the one scene that they were like, all right, we need to have a pretty brutal scene. Let's do it on this one.
Yeah, because there isn't really a lot of werewolf stuff. It's mostly the werewolves in their human forms doing these particular shootouts, like at the hospital and a few other places. And so that's why I guess I wanted more werewolf action. You know, I guess they just saved it particularly for those scenes where they knew they could do the practical well, as opposed to having it rear its fearsome face countless times. You know, but yeah, I mean, when we got it, especially near the end of the film, I was impressed. I'll agree with you there, definitely.
Other than the music, nothing personally really stood out. It was just a generic score that went with the movie and everything, just pacing for scenes and stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't say anything really stood out on me for that.
Yeah, and I mean, since I'm not super into werewolf stuff like you, man, this one, while solid enough, I suppose, for me at least, I don't see this being one that I would, like, rush out to rewatch anytime soon. There's a lot of others, especially from this time period, you know, in the mid 2000s, that I think are a little bit better. But
if you're gonna do a rewatch of anything, it's either like Bad Moon or American Werewolf in London, things like that. Those would be
Howling,
like, Howling and everything. Yeah, those
first one.
Everything else. The first one.
I just saw Jason Smith was going through all of those recently, and he was like, "God help me!" When he was getting to some of those.
I wanted to comment. I'm just like, "Oh man, what a nosedive you're going to."
Yeah, and that dog's putting its nose in shit. But no, this one was not shit. This one was entertaining. I liked it. I just wish it was a little more werewolf centric and had a little bit more just. I don't know, deeper and interesting stories instead of
it was fun to the point where they knew what they were working with, they knew what the story and how far they could really push it for what they got. Yeah, agreed. And they did it, they executed it well.
Yeah, fair assessment.
If you guys haven't checked out Skinwalkers, I definitely at least recommend it, especially if you're a fan of practical effects and just werewolf stuff or, you know, motorcycles, crap like that.
Yeah, it's sadly not streaming anywhere currently, unfortunately, so you would have to rent it on VOD for, I think, $3.99, whether it's, you know, Amazon or Vudu or wherever the hell you go to do that. Or you could probably track down a relatively cheap DVD if you're really just wanting to build your werewolf physical media collection.
Check out the bargain bin at Walmart, who knows?
Yeah, that was where I saw it over and over for years and years.
Yeah, a $5 movie.
Yeah.
$5 make you holla.
Maybe. I don't know. I was trying to think of something funny on the fly. I'm sorry, Seth. I'm sorry.
All right, folks. I think we're probably going to end that here.
No stuff.
Thank you again, Seth, as always, for your requests. Look forward to the next one.
Bring it, yo.
Yeah, so if you guys want to become a patron, link's down here at the description box. Follow that link. Hit that notification bell. Hit subscribe and catch all the new notifications for all and see all our pretty faces. Keep up with all this good horror stuff that we're putting out.
Amen.
Other than that, from here at the Horror Show, I've been Robert Wolfman.
And gracias, I've been Jaime in Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.